Hey, welcome to this radio channel, and this is a review of the Countycomm GP5 SSB Longwave, Mediumwave, FM, and Shortwave receiver. This is a general coverage receiver. Receives all the frequency ranges from about 150 kilohertz all the way up to 29999 kilohertz. It's really a full general coverage, which is very interesting. So first, I want to say, in case you think it might change or give me a different opinion of the receiver, I did get this receiver as a gift from Countycomm, and thank you to Nick Casarino for contacting me and sending me this really cute and very interesting little receiver. So when you actually receive this radio, you get it in a box that has a few little interesting stuff. You get the radio, of course. You get this Mediumwave and I believe Longwave antenna that is detachable, that you can put on the top of the receiver and the connector. You also get the little clip-on wire, which I find very, very interesting. You clip this end to the antenna, you clip the other end to, a tree branch or anything, something in your home that you want to make the antenna a little bigger. You get earbuds and, of course, a little carrying pouch with Velcro to put the radio in, so it's cool, and you can actually, keep the radio protected when you're not using it or when you're transporting all of that. So this is what you get in the box. Cool little thing here. So I've been testing this radio now for more than a week. I've used it for many hours, and I've come, of course, to some conclusions with this radio. So first, let's look at the radio itself. You have the nice, pretty big display, big enough that it's very easy to read. When you turn it on, you can see big numbers for the frequency. You can, of course, interchange there. Here you see the temperature in Fahrenheit. You also can interchange the display into the time, a clock instead, or signal-to-noise ratio type signal strength meter. And of course, there's the alarm time if you want also. And you see that the display is lit by a very nice orange-like light that is very good at lighting the display. Only drawback is when you turn it on, there's no way to keep it on. So even if you, take a long press, for example, it is there, but when you depress, you'll see that even if you kept it on, it doesn't have any way of staying on all the time. That's a little drawback, but nothing major. But I do like a radio that you can keep it on. Yet, at least there was one thing interesting: when you touch buttons, or when you tune around the radio, the display will light up immediately. So at least, it's there when you need it the most. Front panel, the little buttons here on the front panel that you can see. So you've got the time button display, easy tuning mode, power buttons here on the right. You got the alarm, you got memories. You've got here the scan functionalities. You've got also the Mediumwave FM. You've got the up-down band button here. You've got BFO, the USB LSB for a single sideband, and of course here you have lighting, and you can also use this to delete, for example, memory functionalities. Or when the radio is turned off, you also have extra functionalities there at the bottom. And here there's a step button to choose which step for scanning, or for going through the bands. You have the 910 kilohertz one here, and you also have a button here that is for charging the batteries. If you have rechargeable batteries, you can charge from the radio. On the left side, right side, sorry, when you have it in front of you, on the right side, you've got the DC in 5 volt USB plug. This is only for charging. You can't program or add anything to it. It's really just charging. So you can charge the batteries in the radio, and that's what I do actually. Volume control, tuning knob in green, so very nice. Left side, there's nothing. On the top, you've got the antenna, of course, telescopic antenna, nice little telescopic with a green end at the top. You also have the AM or medium wave, long wave antenna connector. So, for example, if I turn this antenna down, I can actually take the medium wave antenna and put it, and it rotates. So you can have directionality when listening to medium wave, long wave signals. And finally, you've got here on the right side the earphone jack. And yes, FM is in stereo when you are using earbuds on FM. Interesting form factor. As you see here, it's kind of elongated. I don't have, it looks like the only radios I have that are of this kind of feel is like a scanner radio. So it's kind of cool. And I actually like the form factor. It's easy to hold, and it's really nice little form factor, I believe. It covers, of course, long wave. For that, you have to put the radio in 9 kilohertz mode. It covers medium wave, of course, with the expanded AM band and everything, in 9 or 10 kilohertz increments, depending if you're in Europe or North America. FM, and finally, shortwave, continuous from 1711 kilohertz all the way to 29999, which is very unique for this radio because most portables have, are limited very often from like 3 megahertz to 21.850, because that's how they are, basically programmed. But this one has full coverage, and that's nice. That's really nice, I gotta say. This radio has a chip, which is the Silicon Integrated 4734 chip, which is a shortwave radio digital signal processing chip. Typically, same chip that I have here in my PL380, and I have my PL380 here because that's the closest thing that I have to the kind of electronics of this one, and I will of course have a little comment on that later on. That's why I got that one here too. Sensitivity, amazing. This radio is extremely sensitive. It picks up pretty much everything you want. Even with the telescopic antenna, it is surprising what you will get on this radio. I'm really amazed at sensitivity. Selectivity, just right also, and that's thanks to the flexible DSP chip, Silicon Integrated 4734, that has several different bandwidths, and they've chosen, from my guess, the 4 kilohertz one, which is just perfect for radio listening. As single sideband capability, of course, that's also a very cool add-on here, because you can just press, and here you go. You'll see at the top, L for lower sideband, U for upper sideband, and the numbers on the right, well, these are to fine-tune a signal. So if your signal sounds a little too Donald Duck-like, or if it sounds a little wrong, you can actually click the BFO and tune a little lower or up a little more on the upside of the signal to fine-tune, basically. You know what? This single sideband way of tuning is actually very good. I like the fact that they have separate upper and lower sideband. It does make tuning single sideband signals easier, and it's amazingly nice with that little fine tune, which makes it extremely simple to tune a single sideband signal and easy to just tweak. It's better than a BFO button with that you just go up and down and try to find the correct space, and you're not really sure if you're correct or not. This is much simpler, much better by using upper lower sideband. This was added to basically this receiver, and was a kind of a special command so that the Countycomm could sell a bunch of these to the US government, basically. The tuning of the receiver goes, of course, as you see, there's no keypad. And that's the negative side of this radio. No keypad makes it a little harder to tune around, especially when you're out of the boundaries, the regular boundaries. Because when you're in sideband, for example, if you go through the different bands, it will go through basically the different amateur radio bands. So if you're tuning amateur radio bands, it ain't too bad. Like if you're not in single sideband, when you tune around fast, it's the international broadcast band. So once again, you're in the international broadcast band while tuning, ain't too bad. But say you want to tune really out of those boundaries. So, you know, I wanted to tune, for example, the CB band, 27 megahertz. That's where it gets a little tricky because there's no keypad. So basically you gotta either tune by hand or use the scan functionality. You know, you go to the nearest band, and so if I want to tune 27165, I'd go down to the 10 meter band, for example, in single sideband mode. And once I'm on the 10 meter band, which is closer to 21165, typically what I would do is tune down a little and then have the radio just scan down onto 27165. But there's a way to go around this, and it's by using the different memories. This receiver has a total of 550 memories available. 100 for AM, 100 for FM, 250 for shortwave, and 100 temporary storage memory. So basically, by using the memory in a wise way, you can minimize your going through the bands, because it does make sometimes a little annoying to tune around because of this, the fact that there's no keypad and you have to just go through the different bands and then move up or down to the frequency that you want. But by using the memory channels in an interesting way, you can minimize this, because you can actually use the memory channels and simply have the memory channels plugged in to the different frequencies. So if you add all the memory channels to different frequencies, so you see here I called up 27165, which was one of the memory channels, so I can get much easier access to the CB band, for example. You can minimize the strain of tuning by just using the memory channels to compensate the lack of keypad. So at some point you get used to it and it's like, okay, it's quite interesting. The audio quality, not all the best, but you know what? I'm surprised. It lacks bass, so there's no bass in here really, because this speaker is too small. Yet everything that you listen to is actually quite clear. So if I put it, for example, on Mediumwave, you can see here that, you know, everything on Mediumwave, I tune in the CJAD. It's actually very clear. It's a little muffled, but it's very clear even though it's a small speaker. Of course, if I listen to the same channel on this one, which has a much bigger speaker, as you see, it does sound better on 380, but still, it's okay, you know, and for single sideband listening, it's pretty cool. A little bit of AGC problems because of, you know, when a single sideband signal transmits, it stops and it starts. So the AGC has to act fast. So sometimes it does a little bit distortion, but you know, I can cope with that. It's actually a very nice radio. Now, one of the things that I always found gimmicky was the easy tuning mode, and you know what? When I got my PL380, which is my other receiver that has the easy tuning mode functionality, I fell in love with this. Why? Because easy tuning mode is not just like a scan mode. It goes through all the international broadcast bands, and it actually will stop and record in the memory every signal that it finds. So after it's finished scanning, you can actually recover all of these signals and say, oh, okay, these are all the signals that it caught. Now, I love the one on the PL380, but I have to say the one on the on the GP5 SSB is much better. It's faster. First of all, it's much faster in scanning. And not only is it faster, it actually picks up more signals. Now, if you've watched my easy tuning mode video, I was telling you about how this one seemed to receive more signals, but I was wondering, is it because it's more sensitive or the easy tuning mode threshold is lower? Well, one of the things that I noticed, because I compared a dozen signals between both radios here. This radio and this radio are, I would say, pretty much equal in their sensitivity and how they receive signals. So my guess is that the easy tuning mode here, the threshold is lower, meaning it will stop on weaker signals than the PL380. So that means if I do an easy tuning mode on both, this one will often find 4 or 5 channels. Well, this one will find a dozen channels. It has more signals that it's stopped upon. The drawback, because it's more sensitive or the threshold's lower, you sometimes have channels that it will record that have interference, for example. But you know what? I have absolutely no problem with that. I rather have it more sensitive when it's in easy tuning mode, even though you know that you might have 1 or 2 channels with interference on it instead. Easy tuning mode is great. Doesn't work in single sideband. Works only in AM mode. On single sideband it would be kind of useless or very complicated to do that anyways. So great functionality and improved upon my PL380, I can tell you that. Display lighting, amazing. Display is very, very good, like I said in the beginning. Love this radio for that. Battery life is rated at 225 hours at 40% volume, according to the manual. And it is a nice, very, very good at saving your batteries. I can tell you that. It's I've used it a lot, and batteries last a long time in this radio. But by the way, the manual is included, of course, with this little manual here in English, just to let you know. What's cool is you can put, and that's what I did. I put rechargeable batteries inside, and I've, of course, charged it with the charging port, so it's pretty cool, and I really, really enjoyed that. Overall performance of this radio, amazing. This, for a portable little receiver, is amazing, not just for the international broadcast band, even for single sideband signals. I've heard dozens of amateur radio operators, utility signals. I've heard, of course, a lot of shortwave broadcasts. Been using the easy tuning mode a lot. Been enjoying this receiver so much. I gotta say that if you are looking into it and you were thinking of buying one GP5 SSB, go ahead. You won't be deceived. This is a great radio, and the overall performance is fantastic. The score I will give is a score that takes into account the drawbacks that I've talked about. The fact that the tuning is kind of a little difficult sometimes, depending where you want to tune, because of lack of keypad. Sound quality could be improved a little bit. These are probably the 2 negative sides of this radio that I would say. For the rest, it's an amazing performer. I'll give this receiver a score of about 8 out of 10. If it had a keypad, I'd probably move that up to 9, even 9.5 out of 10, honestly. So if Countycomm ever has an update to the GP5, I don't know, a GP6 or something, why not think about a little keypad? That could be cool. Apart from that, great receiver. And I am, of course, going to use it a lot. More videos coming up of all sorts of things. Sensitivity on medium wave is great. On long wave also. The rotatable antenna here helps a lot. Null out medium wave signals. So it's really cool for that. And this will be part of my de-expedition this summer. That, this coming spring and summer, when I start doing my de-expeditions again to Perry Island. This will be part of my radios I will bring on the expedition for sure. I love this radio, and it's one of my favorites right now. Great receiver, and that's my take on the Countycomm GP5 SSB receiver. It's available on different retailers like Amazon, or I think it's Universal Radio. I believe direct from countycomm.com also. And if you are wondering, yeah, the Texan PL365 is the same receiver. Just out of a little note here. So that was my review of the GP5. I hope you enjoyed it. It's not technical. I haven't plugged it in any, testing bench or anything. It's purely observations and comparing with other receivers I have. I will be posting in the next few days videos where I will compare reception of signals between the GP5 and the Pexon PL380. I'll also be checking out and comparing signals between my Texan PL680 with this one, including single sideband signals. So that's going to be interesting to check and see if it actually is good. But from now, you know, I can say that this receiver is so sensitive, and selectivity is just great. Amazing little radio, can tell you that. If you were waiting for my review, if you were waiting for somebody to say, hey, is this radio good? This radio is amazing for what it is. Really, really amazing. So hope you enjoyed my review. Of course, if you have any comments, questions, just post them below the video. And hope you enjoyed my look into the Countycomm GP5 SSB receiver. If you enjoy my videos, why not subscribe? Give us thumbs up. And Happy New Year, everybody, as we're getting into New Year now. Take care.